The multi-driver earbud battle rages on. Talking about earbuds are some of my favorite things to do, but making them look good on video, not the easiest job. I like fun audio products, and the CCA C10 are another killer option for juicy cabled earbuds at an amazing price. If you haven't been paying attention, we're in something of a headphone renaissance. So if you still have access to a 3.5mm headphone jack, you can treat yourself to some ear candy on the cheap. Okay, kicking off with the design, in-ear monitor style multi-drivers are all the rage. The C10 casing is all plastic and is an area where these feel inexpensive. I like having an option for colors. Purple is fun, but blocking most of the color accent with this fake metallic front plate, these could look a little cleaner. For this plastic build, I wish the arms going into your ears just had a bit more of a bell or broader rim for the ear tips. It was pretty common for an ear tip to pop off and stay in my ear after longer listening sessions. And one last minor gripe, the same criticism I had for the premium SomeGadgetGuy EN700 Pro. I just wish the ear hooks on the cables were a bit stiffer. I like when you can control the bend and how the ear hook might clamp or might press into your ear or skull. I wish I had that, but this is not a deal breaker. Because what matters here is sound quality. 4 balanced armatures and 1 dynamic driver per ear. It's the good version of turning up the saturation in a photo. With each driver tackling a specific chunk of the frequency spectrum, you're apt to hear a lot more of your music if you're coming from a cheap single driver earbud. And the C10 punches pretty hard across the entire EQ range. The low bass is pretty thick. There's a lot of rumble. It's not floppy, it's not out of control, but I do wish attacks on kick drums were just a touch sharper. This bass likes to roll and sustain. It doesn't have that fast punch. Thankfully, those rumbles don't stomp on my precious mid-range. We get excellent representation of the mid EQ, where instruments, distortion, and human vocals all live harmoniously. I prefer a razor-sharp representation in the mids. And on the C10, I got clear tremor in vocals and that tight buzz in guitar distortion. Very pleasant effects. The highs are clear and present, but they might be just a touch forward for my tastes. Again, they never fail on aggressively mixed tracks, but they do ride that line where shimmer starts to become shrill, just clawing on before losing control. There's a feeling of a deep V EQ, but it doesn't seem to cut the high mids as aggressively as some previously reviewed earbuds. To my ears, this generation of earbud has been surprisingly decent for stereo imaging, and the C10 gets to join that list of solid performers. Nothing's gonna beat a great pair of open-backed cans, but placing instruments in space or hard panning an effect in electronica, you can easily track what the engineer was trying to do. And I have to give CCA some kudos for isolation. That's a tough balancing act. You want to block environment noise, but a dynamic driver likes a bit of air to bump that bass. My C10 blocks out a bit more noise than my KZ ZS7. They aren't as openly vented as the KZ, but my hypothesis is that's why the KZ low frequency attack is a bit more aggressive, a little tighter. Maybe. I could be talking out my ass. I wish there were a way for me to do a double blind earbud comparison, but even blindfolded and with my hands tied behind my back, I think I could tell based on the feel which earbud was being plugged into my skull. And I would never trust someone else to plug earbuds into my skull. Lastly, with 5 drivers on tap, 1 dynamic driver, these buds need a bit more juice than the average bear. 32 ohm resistance, that's starting to creep up on phones. Unless you've got a decent amp in that phone, you might start pushing towards the upper limit of what your phone can properly drive. Online retail price, somewhere around $40. These arrived with a mic cable for $42. That's a whole lot of headphone for not a lot of cash. Performance compares very well against the aforementioned ZS7, trading rounder bass for isolation, and the KZ deserve the slight price premium for the metal casing if that's something you're into. The C10 feel like a generational improvement over earbuds like the TRN V80. Also a very good option, but the tuning on the C10 feels a bit more reserved, a bit less hypercolor. And for all of these new consumer multi-driver IEMs, I'm reluctant to recommend them for engineers doing the mix. Colorful, punchy, and vibrant, but I don't know that I'd trust this color when recording. For performers live, they could be a good low-cost option for monitoring if you swap the ear tips for foam or better isolation. Listen healthier, listen happier, and you don't need to spend a lot to treat your ears. I'll of course have links down below where you can find more information on the CCA C10. Maybe shop these puppies online, and stay tuned because if you want to take something up the premium market, on this channel I will be reviewing the big brother to the C10, the CCA C16. Now, if you've been paying attention to CCA's numbering convention, the CCA C16 have 16 drivers. 8 drivers per ear. Haven't even taken them out of the plastic wrap yet. I'll be very curious to hear what that sounds like. As always, folks, thanks so much for watching, for sharing these videos, and subscribing to this channel. Not just nerding out on fun earbuds. We need to have more conversations about getting the most out of our audio kit, our audio and listening experiences. There are links below on how to support production on this channel. Now, maybe join this list of names scrolling by and join a fun community of like-minded tech fans. And, we can have a little fun talking about all these gadgets. You know where you can find me around the rest of the internet, at SomeGadgetGuy on the Twitters, the Instagrams, the Facebooks, and the Twitches. And I will catch you all on the next video.